Hello everybody and welcome back to a brand new episode of the NASCAR Heat 5 Career Mode. I hope you're all having a great day. Today we go to Talladega Super Speedway here in both the Truck Series as well as the Cup Series. Very excited for this one. Every time we come to Talladega, it's probably the best plate race of the season, so very excited to get this one going. Last time we came here in the playoffs, which was in our rookie season of the Career Mode in the Cup Series, we had an incredible last lap dash for the win. It was like 4 wide for the lead on the final lap, and it was a crazy race overall. So hoping that we get the same thing here today now as we though come through into the Truck Series race for the start of the Sugarland Shine 250 at Talladega. We had subscriber Joshua Oborski in the truck, hopefully I pronounced that last name right, and he would of course start at the back of the field as we always do in typical Talladega and Daytona fashion now as it came through turns 1 and 2, but in the Truck Series side of things we're in a pretty good position right now in terms of the playoff grid. Hailie Deegan right now is locked into the Final Four. She picked up her second win of her rookie Truck Series season here on the career mode in the last episode, and she's only gotten the first 2 wins in the playoffs. In the regular season she was not able to pick up a victory, but here in the playoffs she's really turned it up here as we come through into turn 3. There you see Joshua now actually able to get down to the bottom behind that number 18 truck here as it came through out of turn 4. So a lot of ground to make up, and finishing up front is key at this point in the season. And there you see Hailie Deegan right now, who's running in the back. Very fortunate for her to pick up that victory in the last episode, so she does not have to run well at all here at Talladega or in the next race at Martinsville. But Joshua, he was working his way forwards. Of course, we're not in a safe position right now, so he needs to be on the attack the whole race, and he was on the attack. Not a whole lot happened though in this race, I should mention now, as it came through down the backstretch into turn 3 up the inside of that 15 truck. But we would come through now behind the 8 of John Hunter Nemechek, but we come through to the final lap of this race here in Talladega as he was going down the back straightaway for the final time, and he was now only up inside about the top 15 or so here as he went down the backstretch towards turns 3 on this final lap. The 87 of Joe Nemechek trying to get down in front of him, but he was able to get in there just before Joe could come down and hold on to the position. So they come through the center of 3 and 4 for the final time up the inside of Natalie Decker, 3 wide in front of them now, as you saw Josh try to go to the bottom, didn't quite work out here as we come through into the trial wall for the final time in Talladega Super Speedway now, as he's going to force it 4 wide through the middle here, coming to the line, and they're going to come through to finish barely inside the top 10 now. So Joshua Oborski comes through and manages to finish 9th for us here in Talladega as Matt Crafton picks up the victory now, as we're about to see how this really affects the playoff grid really quick now, as Hailie Deegan, she actually finished at the very bottom of the field, so like I emphasized, very good for her to actually pick up that win in the last episode. But in the playoffs, we are actually now on the outside looking in, going into Martinsville after now you see Enfinger 21 to the good, Sauter 14, Friesen 6. It says +0 for 5th place where we are, but obviously it's actually 6 points below the cut line. So a lot of work will have to be done for the next Truck Series race at Martinsville if we want to make it into the Final Four, where we come through now to Cup Series qualifying for myself here in Talladega Super Speedway, where, as guys know, we will qualify at the very back of the pack, but I always still at least just bear through the qualifying anyways. Now as we come through the center of 3 and 4, the goal was a 48.045, and we know we are not really going to be anywhere near said goal, so we come through to cross the line here after the trial, and it is now a 49.705, and then I just forfeit right there, and there you see dead last for us here in the Alabama 500 at Talladega Super Speedway. Kevin Harvick, a playoff driver down there in P31. Matt DiBenedetto, Eric Jones, Kurt Busch, all outside the top 20, all playoff contenders. And then there you see the top 10. And on pole, we got the 10 car of Eric Almirola. So Almirola, just freshly eliminated from the playoffs, finds himself on pole here in Talladega. The second race of the round of 12 is about to get underway here at Talladega Super Speedway. We come in, we're well above the cut line coming into this race, so really nothing to worry about for us unless things go completely wrong, which usually does not happen here at a track like Talladega Super Speedway. Another driver maybe to keep in mind is Eric Jones. He finds himself well below the cut line after what has been a strong season, so he's definitely going to need to be running up front here today. Now, as Chris Buescher failed technical inspection and Daniel Suarez had to replace a transmission before the race, so both of those drivers starting at the back of the field as Eric Almirola and Austin Dillon get ready to lead the field to the green flag here at Talladega Super Speedway. P38 is where we will line up after Buescher and Suarez get sent to the back of the field now, as the Alabama 500 is underway here for the second race of the round of 12. Martin Truex Jr., our teammate, just here in front of us now, another playoff contender, of course, now, as so far 4 races have been completed throughout the playoffs, and they have all been won by a Joe Gibbs Racing driver. Denny Hamlin, Martin Truex Jr., Kyle Busch, they've all picked up victories. I'm the only Joe Gibbs Racing driver that hasn't actually won in the playoffs so far. As you guys know, we've had an incredible season, winning the regular season championship, so it doesn't really affect me too much to know that we're the only JGR driver that hasn't won in the playoffs already, but definitely can have the opportunity to make that happen here today. Now, as we go down this backstretch towards turn 3, some help there from the 17 of Chris Buescher, as he is a draft partner, but they're already going 3 by 3 by 3, so many lanes deep here as we get to the bottom lane here through the center of 3 and 4, closing in on the back of the 99 of Suarez. I could have made a 4 wide right there, but it's only lap 1. I decided to just kind of chill right here behind that 99, knowing that we're on the inside lane. We will just, no matter what, gradually move our way towards the front of the pack. But we have such a good points buffer coming into this race that I really wasn't just going to chill on the bottom the whole time and just ride. I was definitely going to try and make some moves, test out some other lanes if I had that opportunity. Now, as we came through the center of turns 1 and 2 of the inside of Ryan Blaney, as we go down this back straightaway, already up into P31 here on this second lap. Usually we struggle quite a bit to move our way through the field in the opening laps of a plate race like Daytona or Talladega, but you can see already now into the top 30, closing in on the top 25 here, and we're not even 2 laps in. We came through now on lap 3 into turn 1. 4 wide up the inside there with Brad Keselowski. He was on the far outside, another playoff driver. They were going 4 wide right in front of us for a very brief moment. Then I come through to the inside of our future teammate Kyle Larson. We were 4 wide with him. Joey Logano, our rival, on the far outside. Stenos was in the middle. So we have a lot of 4 wide racing going on here very early now as we go down the back straightaway. I saw my teammate Kyle Busch here in the middle, so I decided, like I had just mentioned, that I wasn't going to be afraid to go and test out different lanes. So I was going to try and help him. Didn't quite work there, so I get back down to the bottom now as we came through down the back on lap 4. There you see William Byron on that far right side. Of course, we will be driving that number 24 car next season as we get aggressive there, diving up the inside of our teammate Martin Truex Jr., 3 wide with him, and Cole Custer now with Chastain up there as well as we come through the center of 3 and 4, right behind the 49 of Chad Fincham, the Daytona 500 winner from last season in our career mode. He does have a career win, so I mean, Chad Fincham right now has more career wins than a driver like Cole Custer here in the career mode here as we come through the tri-oval on the outside of Fincham as we come through to cross the line right behind the 23 of Bubba Wallace. But only 4 laps complete as we start lap 5. We're now entering the top 10 as we make this pass on the 49 of Chad Fincham here as we come through the center of the corner right on the back of that 23, and we would continue to follow Bubba, trying to help him out a little bit now, and then I would actually get back down to the bottom because I just saw that it was really going nowhere. So now we will pass Bubba Wallace, Austin Dillon as well, and we move into P9, and then we're up the inside of Briscoe. We would pass him and then get linked up with our future teammate for next season, Chase Elliott. Looking forward quite a bit to actually being able to work with these 2 drivers right in front of us, Elliott and Bowman. Those are the 2 drivers that will be remaining at Hendrick Motorsports next season in the career mode. Now as the 1 car is going to kind of pinch the 9 towards the outside wall, a little bit of contact made between Elliott and Kurt Busch now as we go down this back straightaway into turn 3. Kurt Busch is having a very solid playoff so far, probably one of the better drivers that hasn't picked up a win now in his final season of the career mode. He does have a win, though, in the regular season back. I think it was at Las Vegas, his home track or something. If I remember correctly there, as you saw, I would actually pull out a line from the 9, and he almost went sliding into the side of myself there, but he would make a magnificent save there as we came through down to P15, so the outside lane did not work at all. We were now pushing Bowman through a 4 wide, past that 77 of Noah Gragson there. Then the 77 would kind of side draft me and pull me back, so now I was stuck in the middle of this 3 wide as we went down into turn 3 right behind our teammate Denny Hamlin, and then we would just kind of continue with him for a moment. We got to the back of him through the tri-oval, and now he's going to go sliding like the 9 did, but a lot more severe this time. But a huge save from our teammate Denny Hamlin as we go down into turn 1. Thank goodness we did not just clean him up, because that could have resulted in a large incident there, as it's certainly starting to pick up a little bit here in terms of just the action and anticipation as we go down this back straightaway to the left side of now Chase Elliott, who finds himself in P21 as we go down this backstretch, and we would be able to run down this pack again and get to the back of Bowman. I make it to the outside, actually had a huge run, but then Logano was going to jump up and block that run. Our rival, of course, would be the one to just kind of throw the block on us in the back straightaway as we go down into turn 3. So now I'm stuck on the far outside. I was hoping to actually be able to go right around the outside of Bowman and then tuck in front of him, but Logano really messed that up now as we, though, would get in line behind that 48 of Alex Bowman here. here, and once again now dive to the inside here of Bowman as well as Noah Gragson, who will be one of our affiliate teammates next season as he takes over Kurt Busch's number 1 car for Chip Ganassi Racing. As we get up the inside of our rival of Logano, we got to be really careful now with being on the inside of him. He can force us down to the apron if he wishes to, and sure enough, he would do just that on lap 12 into turn 3. Some contact with Logano, but we would hang on to it. You see the fuel light has now come on. The leaders of Ryan Blaney and a few others coming into the pit lane this very lap, including our rival of Joey Logano here as we came through into turn 1 now on lap 13, and we had a car that was just coming out of the pit lane, and that was Michael McDowell, and he would hold up everybody here. So all of a sudden, everyone's just clumped together at 170 miles an hour, and now we all have more drivers coming into the pit lane this very lap. Austin Dillon, he ends up running out of fuel into turn 3, so he is going to hold up a whole line of cars, including our teammate Martin Truex Jr., as everything is just turned to chaos at this point. I decide we're going to come into the pit lane right here, and actually, surprisingly, the drivers in front of us stay out. They're confident they can make it another lap, but I slow down a little bit too late, and we speed into the pit lane here for our green flag pit stop, and we completely just threw everything away here in stage 1, so I decide we only put half a can of fuel in and no tires to make sure we can stay on the lead lap. But what would happen during this, the caution would come out and end the first stage here under yellow, of course, so we would serve the penalty and come out and we get P18. But what was weird, I didn't get an option to pit after the caution came out, and we only put half a can of fuel in the car, so all of a sudden we're going to be put in to the lead, and like you see right there, I had absolutely no option to come into the pit lane. So now we've just been messed over even more because of the penalty and the caution. So we get underway for stage 2, and I realize, yep, their tires are worn, of course, and we only have like 4 laps of fuel in the car. Didn't really get an opportunity to see the stage order because of just how weird. It was like a game glitch or something. But Chase Elliott, he was actually down at the bottom. Not sure as well what brought out the caution, but you see here 13 laps in stage 2, which is very close on a full tank of fuel, but we barely have any fuel in the car. We only have like a quarter of the stage in this car now, so we are going to have to pit and give up the lead, but I decided we're going to have to fight as hard as we can to hold on to this front position before we come into the pit lane, and really just hope that we can potentially get a caution here before we do come into the pits. Well, that just shows how quickly everything can get completely messed over, guys. Hopefully we can rebound. There you heard myself on the radio just saying hopefully we can rebound from this, because we are potentially going to go a lap down if we do have to come into the pit lane here under caution. But the other drivers might still have to pit towards the end of the stage if that works out in our favor, so we might not be in a terrible position. But if a caution comes out before they pit, then we are really in deep trouble, and usually it does here in Talladega. Usually we'll get a caution maybe midway through the stage, so just hoping that doesn't happen here today. Right now, as we came through down the back straightaway, still leading on lap 2 into turn 3. There you see the fuel light comes on. I decide we're going to stretch it, like I said, as far as we possibly can. So we were going to do one more lap around here as Kevin Harvick, he had now gotten actually to the back of me, so we came through on now lap 3 of the stage, and we had to come into the pit lane right here through turn 3 and out of turn 4. Unfortunately, we have to give up the lead in potentially a whole lap here as we get off the track, and this time I do slow down in time, thankfully, and we will get into the pit lane without speeding. And we decided to put 2 cans of fuel in the car and 4 tires and exit now, and we're going to be all by ourselves when we exit the pit lane, so we're really in trouble, and other drivers are in trouble too, like Chase Elliott, who's at the very back of the field and whatnot, a playoff driver now as you came through, though, going down the back straightaway into turn 3. There you see Harvick and the whole pack of 38 other cars coming up to us very quick here. I didn't want to be right in the way of Harvick, but I was going to try and hold on to the second lane so we can have a chance at least now, as the 38 of David Reagan in his final season gets right to the back of me and immediately starts pushing us here as we come through into the tri-oval. So very fortunate that worked out, at least now that we're still towards the front of the field now as we come through down the straightaway. And actually I get hung out by the 38 of Reagan as I was trying to follow our teammate of Denny Hamlin, and David was just like, I'm not going to follow you. So now we get hung out. We're in the third lane. Nobody else is in the third lane, so we're dropping like a rock, and we would drop towards the mid part of this pack here as we went down into turn 3 up the inside of the 14 of Chase Briscoe now as we're 4 wide through the middle. He's probably not appreciating that very much, as now the 41 41 sideways of Custer as he had some contact with me, and he saves it as well. Everybody keeps it going. The 14 may have gotten into the outside wall there, I think, now as we're still side by side with Custer, but he clears me through the travel, and thank goodness we were able to keep the car going in the right direction now. But we would once again try to fight to the outside of Cole Custer as I'm doing everything I can here to get my way towards the front of the field, but there was just no chance to get down to the bottom at this point now as we came through down the backstretch, and I could not clear Cole into the corner. So once again we give up even more time because I couldn't even get in line behind him, so I have to get in line now behind the 14 of Chase Briscoe here as we exit turn 4. I have help from the 10 of Eric Almirola, but now we're towards the back part of the field, and finally I get a chance to drop down to the bottom in front of Eric Jones, right behind our affiliate teammate of Harrison Burton now as we came through onto lap 9, which was actually lap 10, of course, with us being a lap down. And sure enough, the green flag staying out would be a bit of a help for us now, because these drivers in front of us were definitely having to get ready to make some pit stops very shortly here within the next few laps. So definitely an opportunity for us to get back on the lead lap if everything goes to plan here as we go down into turn 3 behind the 95 of Christopher Bell. A very baffling race so far here as we came through the center of 3 and 4, and sure enough, pit stops would get underway this very lap. Our affiliate teammate Bell comes into the pit lane. Logano, the leader of Kevin Harvick, the 17 of Chris Buescher, and then a whole bunch more were of course getting ready to come into the pit lane on the next lap of lap 10 as we came through out of 4, and there you see the 32 of LaJoy, Chad Fincham, and then the 13 of Ty Dillon. They all come in, so a very small group of cars right there coming in together as we come through the travel. Now as I'm going to go up the middle there, some contact with the 00 of Quinn Half. He just came up into me for some reason. He saves it as well as we get up the inside of Larson. The 51 is now out of field, and then we have the 8 of Tyler Reddick nearly crashing as we go down under the W on the line to avoid that as he came back up on the track. Absolute chaos now as we were 4 wide there on the apron as we exit the corner, and now we go down the back straightaway, and we're all still going in the right direction now as we still have a car in front of us out of field as the 51 of Gase would get by that. There you see him holding up everybody, including Larson and Bowman, and a whole line of cars now as we would actually get put under investigation due to what just happened there. My expectation was we would get no penalty call for that, as I was just avoiding an incident with the 8 of Tyler Reddick, who nearly got destroyed now as we come through out of turn 4. The 19 of Truex, our teammate, he comes into the pit lane now as we came through to start the final lap of the second stage. They're nearly into the back of the 99 of Suarez now as we pass the 36 of David Reagan. We're going to go around the outside of the 88 of Eric Jones, and now we're back on the lead lap as you see more cars potentially out of the field. I can't tell, maybe the 37 is just getting up to speed. Yes, he is just getting up to speed, but we go down the back straightaway, and Reagan actually stays out for this whole lap. So fortunately for us, after all that chaos, we were able to pass him and unlap ourselves now as we go down this back straightaway into turn 3 for the final time here in stage 2. Or actually, now it's 2 to go for us because of Reagan being the leader. We were unlapped, and then actually the caution comes out and makes things even easier for us now, as that was just complete chaos here to end the second stage. And we still have some drivers staying out, but like I mentioned, we are now in the lead lap. But unfortunately, Chase Elliott, a playoff driver, is down in 39th, trapped a lap down as we get ready to go green for this third and final stage, and actually have the option to put fuel and tires in the car this time here after the end of stage 2, which is very nice. Now as we would indeed get no penalty. That was the call from NASCAR after that, as we were of course just trying to avoid an incident there with Tyler Reddick now as we would get ready to go green for the third and final stage from P26. An absolute insane race so far here in Talladega Superspeedway for the Alabama 500, and now the third and final stage is underway here in Talladega, right behind the 42 of Ross Chastain. A driver like Chase Elliott in huge trouble right now. He needs to find a way to get himself unlapped immediately, as if he cannot get a good finish today, he's going to find himself in what could be a must-win scenario in the next episode of the Charlotte Roval. But at the same time, Chase Elliott, we know how good he is at road course racing, even in this game as well, so I would never count a driver like Chase Elliott out in a must-win situation when we go into the Charlotte Roval here to go down this back straightaway. But if we can get a quick caution, Chase Elliott can find himself in the lucky dog position and have a chance to still get a good spot and not have to worry too much going into Charlotte. Now as I get down in front of my rival of Logano now, as he's going to get right on my back bumper. I knew this was coming, but I really didn't care because I was confident at a play track I would be able to deal with a driver or a rival right on my back bumper way better than I could at any other track in the game here as I go down this front straightaway right behind Logano's teammate Ryan Ryan Blaney now as he goes up the track a little bit. Now as I'm going to get up the inside of him with help from Joey. We're now 4 wide again here as we come through to complete the lap. 15 laps to go here in Talladega as Eric Almirola currently holds on to the lead. He did qualify on pole earlier in this race, but has not really been showing the speed to be running up front, but here he is now leading in this third and final stages. Chase Elliott, he would get to the back of me and now get right on my back bumper as we pass Eric Jones, who's had such a good season without a win though, and that's really hurt him, putting him in a rough spot with no playoff points, and now he's having a couple rough races at the worst time possible, and he's going to find himself likely to be the one really in a must-win situation at the Charlotte Roval. So we go down now into turn 1, right behind that 4 of Kevin Harvick, passing the 48 of Alex Bowman now. So up into 20th place here as we came through on lap 34. Then I'll get up to the middle right behind the 23 of Bubba Wallace now as we exit the corner going down this front straightaway. Harvick on my inside here as we go down into the travel. Now is definitely feeling a lot more comfortable as things have seemed to calm down a little bit in this race here as we come through to start. 13 laps to go. De Benedetto there just in front of us. He's another playoff driver that really hasn't had the greatest season, but he picked up that win in the Coca-Cola 600 earlier this season at Charlotte and put himself in the playoffs now as we exit turn 2 down to 17th place now as we're right there side by side with the 77 of Noah Gragson. Then up the inside we now got the 48 again of Alex Bowman here as we would come through the exit of turn 4, and now Bowman passes us and so does the 9 of Chase Elliott. So Elliott running up inside the top 20 on track, but of course he's down in the mid 30s right now in the running order there. You saw P36, but he is in the lucky dog position. I decided, you know what, I'm going to help a future teammate out and get linked up behind him, and in case a caution comes out, I'm going to make sure we can try and push Elliott towards the front of the pack and maybe get him in that lucky dog position. So we come through out of turn 4 now, and then the caution would come out with 12 laps to go, and Elliott now is in the lucky dog position, and now he has a chance to salvage a good finish out of this race and get himself a chance to not be in a must-win situation and maybe still be above the cut line at the end of this race here in Talladega. As we would come into the pit lane, a very easy call, 1 can of fuel, right side tires, and it would be the right call to make. Surprisingly, here as you see currently the running order on your screen. So Elliott, of course, like I said, is the lucky dog. Then behind him was the 37 of Ryan Blaney, then John Hunter Nemechek now, as we will get ready to go green for what could be the final restart of the day here in the Alabama 500. We lost 1 spot there on the pit lane, which was a great position lost in my opinion, because now we're on the bottom lane, setting us up very well here with 8 laps to go in Talladega to potentially move our way on this bottom throughout the field and get to the lead here now, as we have not been in the mix for the race lead at any single point so far in this race, other than at that point in stage 2 when we unfortunately stayed out without any option and had to, of course, take over the lead and then come into the pit lane a few laps later. Now as we get up the inside of Logano, was not a great start for myself, but fortunately we're picking up the momentum. Some contact with the 22 of Logano, then I actually get into his left rear on purpose. I was just a little bit annoyed with him there, and I nearly hooked him into the infield. He saves it as we go down towards turns 3, of course, but that could have been probably a big incident there. I was not thinking that one through, but I just wasn't happy with Logano about that, so I just tried hooking him, but he would save it. We would calm down very quickly now as we approach 7 laps to go now into turn 3, and we're right behind that 32 of Corey LaJoie. I sneak up the inside of him as you see Logano right on the back of the 23 of Bubba Wallace now as Martin Truex Jr., our teammate, makes it to the front of the pack, and he's trying to make it Joe Gibbs Racing, winning 5 of the first 5 playoff races, so we can already win 50% of the playoff races at a minimum here if we can get a Joe Gibbs Racing car in victory lane here today in Talladega Superspeedway. But I'm sure a lot of people do not want to see that, of course, now, as it's just been Joe Gibbs Racing dominance throughout the playoffs here, and I would be not surprised at all if all 4 Joe Gibbs Racing cars made it into the final 4 now as we come through out of turn 2, right on the back of that 10 of Eric Almirola, but the run kind of fades out there as I'm not in the same lane as Almirola. I'm just kind of relying on help from behind from the 32 of Corey LaJoie here as we go down into turn 3, approaching 5 laps to go here in Talladega Superspeedway. Now into 7th place, I go to the outside of Almirola, trying to use that draft from the couple cars up there in front. Brendan Gaughan into the mix in his final Talladega races. He's trying to lead maybe one last lap of his Cup Series career as we go down into the travel. I was thinking about going 3 wide between De Benedetto as well as Gase, but he closed the door. Then I'll get up the inside of Gase and Harvick 3 wide down the back straightaway into turn 3 now on lap 43. Gaughan, he had kind of fallen out of the picture. Then we get up the inside of De Benedetto, who completely throws his chances of winning out the window for absolutely no reason at all now as we get help from the 10 of Almirola. Again, our teammate of Truex leading the way, but we, like I said, have that help from Almirola Almirola, and sure enough, as we came through into turn 3 on lap 44, Truex takes the top. I just cruise right on by on the bottom lane, and now we will take over the lead here in the Alabama 500 at Talladega Super Speedway now with help from Almirola behind. I'm going to cover him off very well. Truex tries to fight back on that right-hand side, but it's not going to quite work out for him here as Alex Bowman's getting into the mix now. Another driver not in a great position in the playoff standings, and he's going to go to the outside of us with 3 laps to go. As we dive down into turn 1, he takes the lead, nearly clear, but couldn't quite clear himself, and I get a big push now from behind from Almirola side by side with Bowman, who has help from Kevin Harvick here as we go down this back straightaway, but Harvick pulls off of him, so now that's going to give the advantage to myself as well as Eric Almirola down this backstretch as we approach the final 2 laps here in Talladega as we go down into turn 3, and now we are going to easily be able to clear the 48 of Alex Bowman now as we just have to hold on for about 2 laps and a quarter over Eric Almirola, who pulls off of our back bumper, and we've done a good job holding onto the lead so far. So we come through to 2 laps to go into turn 1, just hoping that it works out for us, but Matt Benedetto goes spinning into turn 1 and brings out the caution contact with Larson as well as the 34 of Michael McDowell, and the caution comes out, and that will force overtime here in Talladega. The main thing out of that one is DiBenedetto is a playoff driver, and that is a huge hit for him, and that will put him in a terrible position here going into the next episode at the Charlotte Roval, as we will line up here on the bottom lane as we're trying to hold on to the victory in Talladega Super Speedway now as the green flag is out and overtime is underway. 2 laps remain here in Talladega. Kevin Harvick just behind myself, Eric Almirola on the outside. There's 2 Stewart-Haas drivers in the mix. Would Almirola like to help his teammate of Harvick? Very likely so, but it's going to be unlikely that it's going to happen now as he is on this complete separate lane here as you see Quinn Half trying to do something on the far outside now as we come through the center of turns 1 as well as turns 2. So now a lap and a half to go here as we're still just starting to get up to speed now as we go down this back straightaway now. Harvick, he was trying to get right behind me there, maybe to make a move now as he's got help from the 48 of Alex Bowman that could really help him out as we go down into turn 3. There you see Almirola, he's kind of fading out of the picture now as we can pretty much write him off as we come through the center of 3 and 4, approaching the final lap here in Talladega as we exit turn 4. We've done a very good job holding on to the lead since we've gotten here in the last handful of laps. Cole Custer into the mix, the 51 of Gase even trying to do something as they're 3 wide behind us, which is exactly what you like to see, and just hoping that no one can really get linked up as we start the final lap in Talladega into turn 1. Kyle Busch now getting up into the mix as we go down into turn 1 and 2, but we hope they do exactly that right there. They get 3 wide and now they're kind of stuck, and Harvick, he can't really do anything now as he's not linked up with anyone either. He's got Bowman behind him, but it's not working out as we go down this back straightaway. But there you see the 18 and the 41, they're making some ground on us as we go down to half a lap to go in Talladega as we go down into turn 3 for the final time. Custer to the outside with help from the 51 of Joey Gase here as we come through the center of 3 and 4. Harvick behind us, Kyle Busch in the middle, and Kyle Busch now actually builds up a run on the exit of turn 4. He's side by side as we go down this front straightaway. Kyle Busch is going to come through to steal the lead into the tri-oval here on the final lap in Talladega, and Kyle Busch is going to come through to steal the victory from us here in Talladega Super Speedway as we come through to finish in the 2nd position. Out of nowhere, he was able to get a huge run and pass us into the tri-oval and win the race. No idea how he managed to pull that off, and I just decided to cover the bottom lane because it's what exactly was working for us, and Kyle just drove right around on the outside. I think it probably had a little bit to do. I did clip the apron out of turn 4, but that really sucked because he just completely stole the win away from us. But Joe Gibbs Racing has now won all 5 playoff races so far here this season. Now as Kyle is locked into the next round, we are 59 points above the cut line. We should have just picked up our 5th win of the season, but I just messed it up right at the end there. We didn't really do anything wrong. I felt like if I tried to block the top where Kyle was, we would have just gave it away on the bottom, but it just didn't work out, unfortunately, now. But as always, if you guys enjoyed this episode, you do know what to do. But us being 59 points above the cut line puts us in a great position to where I think basically if we pick up like 2 points in stage 1, we will be locked in to the round of 8. So looking forward to that one now as we're, like I said, in great shape there. As you see, Joey Logano 3 points above the cut line. Chase Elliott is 3 points below the cut line. So Elliott is going to need a good run at the Charlotte Roval, which I would expect him to get now. So that will do it for this episode. Thank you all for taking the time out of your day to watch us. And quickly, I would just like to say thanks to the Going Racing members. MJ, Aiden, Eric, Dylan, Joseph 9001, RJ, and Timothy. Thank you all for helping me out a lot, and that will do it for this episode. Thank you all for watching and taking the time out of your day to watch this episode. I'll see you guys in the next one. Have a great day, everybody.